do this really fast. Go back over there. It's really hard to do it when someone's over. Please, you're making it take longer. Go on, go on. You can't come in this video with chocolate all over your face. Looks like you've been eating poop. Welcome back to the channel. My hair is gigantic because it's been raining for like over a week. Let's turn off the TV. I'm filming. Anything that I do for these videos cannot be painted because it'll never dry. So in that vein, I realized we haven't done a food video in a pretty long time. I have 1,000 apples. So I decided, well, first I wanted to make a pie, but it seems a little too complicated. I've watched too many English baking shows to think that I could even blind bake or whatever it's called, the crust, before everything else that has to happen. So we're going to do something a lot easier, more in my wheelhouse. We're going to make some apple empanadas. They're dairy-free, gluten-free, not flavor-free. So this is one more thing that I'll be able to eat and enjoy. And you can make them and enjoy them too if you want to. It's the whole point. We're all learning. We're all learning. So let's get into it. Alright, so the recipe I'm using today is by Isabella Eats. Let's get our ingredients.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shiny crispy apples.
The only kind of brown sugar I could find anywhere.
Some lemon juice.
A gigantic bottle of vanilla extract.
Top shelf cinnamon from Heb, only the best.
And some cloves.
If you read the list while I was gathering ingredients, which I obviously didn't, it said to peel and chop the apples.
That brings us to the very first lesson learned with this cooking expedition. Actually read the directions.
From this footage, you would never guess that I had just bought myself a brand new food processor. But I didn't want it to get wet because I knew I was going to put the dry ingredients in there. So I diced these babies by hand. And since I've never used a food processor, this was probably the safest way to go anyway.
Good job, me.
An ingredient down, time for the brown sugar. I know that it's really nice ASMR-wise to hear the sounds of like scooping out of the bag and stuff. But when I try to listen to this without the sound off,
You hear a lot of unnecessary grunting.
And you can hear how actually stressful this is for me to do.
instead of peaceful and calm like I'm trying to make it for the viewing experience. 3. I know, buddy. It's because it's lunchtime. And now that you know what's really going on behind the scenes, I don't have to pretend like I immediately just got this lemon on top of this brown sugar and that I didn't have to wait
20-30 minutes to get back to this because I was making lunch for everybody.
Done 3/4 cups of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of lemon, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Couldn't remember how much cinnamon there was, and I didn't feel like looking it up. So through the magic of editing, I just zoomed in, and it is 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. I will always remember that it was 1/8 a teaspoon of cloves because 1/8 teaspoon is not a very common measuring tool to find. I had to go through so many collections of little measuring spoons to find this 1/8 teaspoon. All right, everything's in. Let's start getting it cooking. I want to eat it already. It's not even halfway done. And while it's cooking, I have to stir it and ouch!
Jeez, don't touch the pot, dude. You know better than that.
I wonder if having the skin on this is what makes it less juicy. It just says to warm it until it has soaked up all the juices. And I was worried because I was like, what juices are we talking about? I didn't put any water or anything in here. So we stirred it up and we let it sit for a while. 20 minutes later, we have our delicious filling. What was I doing for those 20 minutes? I will show you. I was gathering all of the supplies to make the dough. Gluten-free flour, of course. It doesn't say gluten-free in the recipe, but we need it. Sugar, HEB again, Heb. Some sea salt. It says kosher salt, but I don't have kosher salt, so this is gonna have to work. Butter, eggs, water, and turbinado sugar. That's for at the end, I believe. The first thing they want me to do is cut this butter up into 16 tiny pieces. This is dairy-free butter, by the way, because I can't have dairy. But this butter is supposed to be nice and solid from the refrigerator, and it's actually pretty soft because I had to take a break to make everybody lunch in the middle of making empanadas.
Butterfingers.
Did you know food processors have holes right in the middle of them? Like, how do you make sure you don't get any of these ingredients in that little hole? Oh, my finger got stuck. We need 3 scoops, 3 cups of the flour. Very delicately putting it around the hole, not trying to get it in that hole. Next up is sugar. I'm thinking that's a 1/4 cup, but it's probably a half. Then we have the salt. It's not kosher, but the rabbis will forgive me. Then we're supposed to mix these dry ingredients, and I'm mixing this very clumsily, thinking, why couldn't we just do this in a bowl? It told me specifically to put these all directly in the food processor. I'm starting to freak out because there were blades included that I didn't put in here. I know there's blades at the bottom, but there were bigger ones. Next, we add 2 tablespoons of water. Then I found those blades. They said they were for chopping and a lot of other stuff that I didn't need, so I felt a lot better, a little bit calmer about not having to take all these ingredients back out. Here are our non-butter butter chunks. Yes, I have weird placemats underneath all my cooking. We don't use placemats, so we're using them as like cutting board. Next up is the eggs. We're only cracking 2 out of these 3 because the last one is for egg wash. Now I need to process it, and this black thing was on here when I got it, so I wasn't completely sure it goes on, but I put it back in here anyway. Turns out it's for scraping on the sides, and it's completely optional. I don't know if it helped or hurt me. This processor has
Shortest cord.
so we won't be seeing a bird's eye view of the processing. Now it is time to form the little balls that will be pressed flat to make the empanadas. I have floured my surface. It's a little bit crunchy. This kind of explains why it looks so thick. It's not coming out. It's supposed to come out as one big flat bob, but you may have noticed that it got blended or processed for way too long. I saw when it was good, but I wasn't sure. I didn't know. So we're gonna have to scoop it. Let's just scoop it out and see what we can do to make balls. It's out. It's not too sticky. That's positive, right? After you've turned it into one big lumpy ball, we're gonna slice it completely unevenly right through the side part here. Make 2 completely not the same size balls. I don't know how I didn't see that these were not equal. From camera's view, you can see that the one on the right is smaller. Anyway, we gotta slice them again. And once again, I didn't slice it through the middle. This explains why there are all these different size empanadas, because we're doing this over and over again. We make the ball, we slice it in half, we make the ball, we slice it in half. 16 empanadas. You're supposed to use a rolling pin and smash them into flat discs before they went into the fridge, but I think they might have been too soft, and that's why I didn't do that. They hung out in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes, and then when they were out, I tried to roll them, and then they were a little bit crispy, but every time I touched them, they started melting. I think my hands are super hot, or maybe it's because they're over processed. There's a lot of reasons why it could not have been working. The discs went back in the fridge after they were all flattened so they could firm up a little bit more, and when I took them out, they kind of broke when I rolled them, but they were supposed to be so much bigger in order to put the filling inside. And this was the part I was most excited about, decorating, creating these actual empanadas. She showed this really cute little curl that she made by sealing the bottom of the empanadas, and I could not figure out how she was doing it, so I tried this and it was gross. So instead, I sealed them up. The top was cracking, and in order to make it look way better than that last garbage one, we used a fork to smooth it and press it, and now it's starting to look more like an empanada.
The dough is so soft.
The last thing we have to make is the white of the eggs for the egg wash on the empanadas. I never have too much trouble separating the yolk from the whites. My son really likes whites by themselves, but of course, this time there was quite a few setbacks. We dropped the yolk in, retrieved it out amazingly without breaking it.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
And then there was this long loogie that's gonna come back to haunt me when I wash the empanadas.
So gross.
Speaking of gross, listen to the sound of my dog drinking water for like 30 minutes while I'm trying to glaze these empanadas. Okay, she's done. Time to put some vents in these empanadas. I really wanted these shapes to look really crisp and cute, but this dough is so soft. You know, you do what you can. Last step, sprinkle with that turbinado sugar. I hope that it sticks to the egg wash and that it hasn't dried all the way yet. And now we get to pop them in the oven. The first batch looked almost exactly the same coming out as going in. The second batch was a lot shinier from the egg wash, but it came out crispy. And before they were even cooled down, my daughter took a bite out of one. I had to hurry and try and eat one on camera before they were all gone. Whew, that was a lot of work. Now the true test is, how does it taste? Do you want to try this? No? No, the inside is kind of soft. Outside is kind of soft. Is it crispy? Very yummy. Tastes like Sandy's. Those like shortbreadish cookies. It's really yummy. Inside is yummy too. The apples. Say this was a success. There weren't a lot of huge setbacks. There was one thing that you guys missed off camera. I don't know if you saw it. There was a big lump of egg white when I was putting it in there for washing. Texture of egg white is already so disgusting, but there was a huge piece of it. While I'm trying to spread wash over these empanadas, there's
Like this loogie that's
just sliding around all over all the empanadas. I'm trying so hard not to be sick because that's like my kryptonite. That's the grossest thing ever. I'll take any other bodily fluid over something of that texture. It's a viscosity thing. Anyway, learn so much about me on this channel. Learn things about each other. Well, I'm gonna stop eating for a minute so I can say goodbye. Thanks for making this with me. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.